Greetings, fellas in time and space! It's your host, TheAmariaShadow, and welcome back to the channel, and welcome back once again to some more of Ace Attorney Investigations. We're going to continue our last left off to the last live stream. We had made it to the next portion of episode 5, Turnabout for the Ages. So without further ado, let's get started our way with today's adventure and see what's in store for us. Allons-y! April 6th, 2:52 p.m., big building, empty lot. Could you maybe calm down a little? Calm down? No way, Jose, not until y'all come clean. It's for your own good, dang it. Our intrepid reporters refuse to give up, even in the face of repeated stonewalling from the crew. Look, you ladies need to stop harassing these people or I'll have to ask you to... You cops sure got a lot of nerve. Y'all are the ones who let Torosaurus run wild. To hide the fact that they bred this menace themselves, the staff cling desperately to their story. Look, we're really not breeding anything. This is a movie set. Says the gal who told me she done seen Gordy with her own danged eyes. I saw something, but that doesn't mean we're keeping monsters here. Alright, break it up. Oh, Mr. Edgeworth! It's Sean! Y'all on the trail on this here monster infestation too, huh? No, we're on the trail of a criminal. Wang Zi says, the darkness of a criminal's heart can sometimes be compared to a monster. That is to say, a killer is no different from a monster, really. Agent Lang, this is highly irregular, sir. We can't allow members of the public onto the crime scene. These people are important witnesses. I need them to be here. Well, Agent Lang, here we are. Where do you intend to begin? Let's start by summing up the facts. President Wong's body was discovered here this morning. He hadn't been seen since the night before last. Yes, he slipped off without his bodyguard noticing, if I remember correctly, so he was missing for over a day. And the last person to see him alive was you, Judge Gavel, on the roof of the big building. Why did the two of you arrange to meet? I'm sorry, but I can't say. Not even to defend yourself from an accusation of murder? Why? Why can't you just tell us? Please, Judge Gavel, we're trying to help you. Ha! She can't say because she'll only incriminate herself more. I know you had something to do with the president's murder, and I'm going to prove it. Objection! You said yourself that the body was only found this morning. How do you explain the time that passed between Judge Gavel's meeting with the president and That's exactly what I'm hoping we're about to find out. I'm particularly interested in what happened last night. So why don't you tell us exactly how it all went down? Sean Fenn? Me? We know you were here on the set last night. You were, Sean? We have testimony from the woman over there and forensic evidence from the footprints that prove it. You came back to run your lines, right? What? You were spying on me? I'm sorry. I was just making sure you were okay. It was late. I was worried about you. How many times do I have to tell you? I don't need you to worry about me. Oh. Sean! That's no way to talk to an adult. She was trying to look out for you. Apologize this instant. Sorry. I've told you before. I won't have you speaking to people that way. Wow, this is a whole new Judge Gavel. It seems she's just as strict with her son as she is with those who break the law. Are you listening to me? If I've told you once, I've told you 1,000 times. You must... Oh gosh, he's going off! She's going off on him! And I want you to remember that, alright? Can we get on with the investigation now? Oh, of course. Forgive me. I don't think I've ever seen her so passionate about anything. I guess Judge Gavel, the mother, will take a little getting used to. Are we to understand that you're accusing Sean of being involved somehow, Agent Lang? I just want the truth. I need to know why the president was killed. And by who. I don't care what it takes. I'm going to find out. I guess it makes sense for him to be so determined. The president was practically family to him. Alright. Sean, perhaps you could tell us what happened last night. Fine by me. I've got nothing to hide. about last night? I had a bad day yesterday. Messed up a couple of takes. We were scheduled to shoot the same scene again today, so I thought I'd put in some extra practice, and that's what I did. It's that simple. It's not like I haven't done it before. It was fine. Nothing happened. You've been rehearsing late at night again? But when I called you yesterday evening, Sean, you said you were at the hotel. You called him? Around what time? It must have been 11 p.m. or thereabouts. It's one of our rules. When Sean stays away from home, we have to speak every night. Yeah, well, I wasn't at the hotel. I was here on set. So you lied to me? Sorry. Ooh, now she's mad. I think it's kind of amazing how hard he wants to work on his acting, though. Nonetheless, a parent can't help but worry. Her child alone late at night, anything could happen to him. And indeed it did. He got himself entangled in this case. But he said nothing happened, right? He did. Although I can't help but wonder if he was telling the truth. Had a bad day yesterday. Messed up a couple of takes. We were scheduled to shoot the same scene again today. So I thought I'd put in some extra practice, and that's what I did. It's that simple. It's not like I haven't done it before. It was fine. Nothing happened. Really? Somehow, I find that a bit hard to believe. Especially when I have this. Nothing happened? I'm sorry, but you're lying. This proves it beyond a doubt. Wait! That's... How did you... That's right. Your rehearsal tape. What? You have video footage from last night? We do. If you watch it, you'll see that it was no ordinary evening. There's a footprint there already. There is. I'm not sure that's an everyday sight, even on a film set. Sean, why would you keep this from me? No reason. Liar! That stuff might work on your mommy, kid, but it's not going to work on me. Why did you hide the tape? Sean, you have to tell us. You? Look, I just didn't want anybody to see me rehearsing, okay? I don't like it. So you were embarrassed, is that it? Yeah, what's so weird about that? That's why you didn't hand over vital evidence? Sean, how could you? Ah! Oh, give me a break. You know about it now, don't you? Sure, the footprint was there, but I just ran my lines and went home. That was it. What, and nothing about the giant monster footprint struck you as weird? It's a giant monster footprint! On the set of a giant monster movie. It's not like there isn't all kinds of other weird stuff around here. I don't buy it for a second. Chief, there's something hinky about this kid. As sure as I'm standing right here. Dang Skippy there is. He's hiding a scoop under them there horns, or my name ain't Lotta Hart. Ah, shut up, both of you. I'm done talking. No, you're not. What? The footprint isn't the only strange thing about last night. What other unusual occurrence happened yesterday evening? The model of Torosaurus's head fell from the roof of that trailer last night. Did you expect us to believe that you knew nothing about that? I don't know what you're talking about. Is that so? I told you, I ran my lines, I went home. That was it. What do I know about some stupid falling head? Or are you saying you could prove I know something? Sadly not. It's entirely possible that the head fell after Sean left. No proof, huh? Then this conversation is over. Something tells me he doesn't want to talk about last night any more than is absolutely necessary. What is he hiding? Hold it right there. What is it, Agent Lang? So it's just as I thought. Thanks, Mr. Prosecutor. This footage of yours backs up my theory nicely. What? There was something else on that tape? Yep. Look closely. See the costume up in the top left? Oh yeah, the Torosaurus suit. Something's different. Do you see it? I'm not sure. He's just kind of hanging out and looking a little saggy. Oh, the zipper on his back is done up tight. The zipper? Huh? That's... Yeah, I guess you all see it now, right? On the tape, the zipper is wide open. Why? Because somebody's inside the suit, that's why. What? Mr. Powers, that zipper, what can you tell us about it? Oh, well, we always close it up tight when the suit isn't in use. That's right, Mr. Prosecutor. And do you remember something else I said not so long ago? Let me refresh your memory. What if your friend Gavel pushed the president off of the big building the night before last, and then came down here to the movie set and hid the body somewhere? Here? But where? There's all kinds of stuff down here. Costumes, equipment, you could hide it anywhere. And then come back a day later, last night in other words, and take it out again. You're saying the body could have been hidden in the Torosaurus suit? That's exactly what I'm saying. Isn't that right, Gavel? You pushed the president off of the roof just like I said! Then you hid his body inside that costume! I most certainly did not! Protest all you like, I'm not going to believe you. You're the only person who could have done this! I thought we already proved that would have been impossible. The movie set was locked at the time. There's no way Judge Gavel would have been able to get in here! What if she had an accomplice? What? I've got a little theory for you. I think you're going to like it. Mother and child murderers. What if Sean was waiting down here when Gavel pushed the president off the roof? If the two of them were working together, the problem with the lock goes away. They then work to hide the body together, too, by dragging it over to the Torosaurus suit and stuffing it inside. You think the murder was really that carefully planned? It was the assassination of a world leader. It could only have been carefully planned. To suggest that Sean could have been involved in this is unthinkable! You're my prime suspect. What makes you think I'm going to listen to a word you say? What about motive? What reason would either of them have to kill President Wong? Who knows? But we'll find out soon enough. She was the last one to meet with him, and she won't tell us why. Pretty darn suspicious. Even you have to agree with that. Judge Gavel, I don't suppose I can convince you to share any more details. My apologies, but that is the one thing I cannot do. However, rest assured, should that ever change, you will be the first to know. So please, you have to believe me? Yeah, murderers have a habit of saying that. What about you, kid? Any weak excuses to offer? If so, now's the time to get them off your chest. I've got nothing to say to you. I'm innocent. Both as tight-lipped as each other, huh? Well, let me guess, you're still going to try and stick up for them? It's true, Judge Gavel's actions certainly make her seem suspicious, but nothing she has told us amounts to a motive for murder, or even the suggestion of one. No, and like I said, I'm leaving motive aside for now. For the moment, I'm focusing on means and opportunity, and for my money, these two had to be working together for their little plot to succeed. What if Sean was waiting down here when Gavel pushed the president off of the roof? If the two of them were working together, the problem of the lock goes away. They then work to hide the body together, too, by dragging it over to the Torosaurus suit and stuffing it inside. Hold it! The video footage doesn't show the inside of the suit. You can't say for certain that there was a body in there at the time, can you? Maybe not, but we can take a look right now. Let's open it up and see what's inside. I put money on us finding proof that it was there. Do you mind if we examine the suit, Mr. Powers? Oh, not at all. Might be a little right, though. It's pretty sweaty in there. Huh, it's filthy. Yeah, that's weird. I was cleaning out pretty good. If you don't, it can get kind of moldy. In other words, what we're looking at is proof that somebody other than you used the costume. That dirt in there must have come from the body. I guess the president was lying right in the middle of that footprint. He probably would have gotten pretty dirty. Exactly. Well, everybody happy? The inside of the suit is covered with dirt. It must be from when the body was hidden there. Objection! No. So our assumption is that the inside of the suit is dirty because the dirt came from the body. Would it be safe to say that's the case? Why? Is there a problem? The part of the suit directly in front of the opening is particularly dirty. Yeah, it really is. Look at the victim. The area of his body that would have been in contact with that part of the suit isn't dirty at all. If the victim had been crammed in there, as you suggest, his chest would surely be covered in dirt. Ah! Fine, so what's your explanation? How did all that dirt get inside there? Based on the videotape, there may well have been somebody in the suit at the time. So who was it if it wasn't the president? Come on, Kay, think. Where was it? Is something the matter, Kay? I've seen dirt like that somewhere else, I'm sure of it. I just can't think where. Dirt with weird little gray bits in it. Gray bits? She's right, there is something mixed in there. It was stuck to something else we looked at. Lots of it. Stuck to something we looked at? An item of evidence, maybe? It's probably worth checking. Does one of the items we found have a similar kind of dirt stuck to it? Yeah! The gloves! Take that! As Kay pointed out, the dirt in the suit contains small flecks of something gray. And? We discovered similar flecks stuck to an item belonging to somebody we recently had dealings with. The item in question being these gloves. You're right, the dirt does look similar. But, so what? What are you saying the stuff is? What exactly are these gray flecks of yours? I believe the gray flecks are concrete? Yeah, they're definitely concrete. Surely they're flecks of concrete. Oh, like all the little broken up bits around the footprints, you mean? Exactly. And who did the gloves on which we found similar dirt and gray flecks belong to? Chairman Winter! We found them in his garage! That's right. We visited the garage at his home earlier today, and we found a pair of mechanic gloves covered in dirt. And if I recall correctly, a sledgehammer and a shovel, too. Why would a pair of mechanic gloves be covered in dirt? I'll tell you why. Because somebody wore them while they used that hammer and shovel. They smashed through the concrete to the dirt below, staining the gloves with both substances. Wait, so you're saying... Yes. Now we finally know what these footprints really are. It seems highly likely that they were dug by Chairman Winter! Highly likely? Fuck! If that's so, then tell me this! Why the heck did he make them? What purpose could they possibly serve? Why indeed, I imagine he must have been digging something up. I think he must have been digging something up. I imagine events unfolded somewhat like this. There was something on this lot that he needed to unearth. In order to do so, he cut the chain on the side entrance and gained access from there. He then used the sledgehammer and shovel to dig the 3 footprints. When he found what he was looking for, he bagged it up and filled in all the holes. Huh, but then Sean must have showed up, right? I think he did, yes. Chairman Winter would have had to find the hiding place, and the Torosaurus suit provided just that. You got all that from a pair of dirty gloves? It's good, but it's all just speculation. You don't have any proof that he was inside that suit. He could have dug those holes and gotten out of here before the kid even showed up. But he didn't, and there's proof of that right there in the footage. It shows that Chairman Winter was still present when this recording was made. What? It's a shame that Agent Lang didn't notice it himself. But if we compare the situation as we see it now to the situation as it appears on Sean's rehearsal tape, compare that in turn to what we saw in Chairman Winter's garage, it soon becomes clear that the chairman was present. Well, part of this image shows us that Chairman Winter was still here. That bag! Take that! Because it was at Chairman Winter's house. Look at the bag next to the Torosaurus suit. We saw the same bag in Chairman Winter's garage. The same bag, the dirt on the gloves, that has to indicate a connection, surely. I think that pretty much seals it. It was Excelsius Winter in the suit. And if he wasn't there, the president's body can't have been. Hiya! Good, it seems I've convinced Agent Lang of the flaws in his theory. Somebody get the Chairman Winter's house right away! We need to know what's in that bag! Yes, sir! Y'all done lost your minds. I can't believe what I'm hearing here. What is this hog's will? This is all we will. Man, right there's Torosaurus' footprints, dang it. Ain't no holes dug up by no old guy. I think I've demonstrated more than adequately that that's exactly what they are. Don't matter to me none what you just done did. I don't believe it, and that's that. I done told y'all. I seen that big bad bull with my own 2 eyes. The giant eye peering in at the window. I thought we gotten past that nonsense. We ain't about to let that go. What kind of journalists would we be if we did, huh? Responsible ones? I guess that's the whole problem. Wait, ain't like it was just about the footprints, no how. You were seen fraternizing with one of them there monsters, ain't that correct, young man? By the young lady over there, if I'm not very much mistaken. We're never going to get anywhere with these two around. Maybe we could prove to them that wasn't a monster either. They might finally drop it. What do you think, Miss Edgeworth? Any bright ideas? Prove that it wasn't a monster? Fine. I don't suppose there's much else for it. Let's see what we can do. What are you two whispering about? Y'all hiding something, ain't you? Admit it! Quick, Tabby, roll tape. Hold it! Could I politely ask that you both calm down? The monster the boy was seen talking to, we know what it is, was now. Huh? That's right. Sean's rehearsal tape finally cleared up that particular mystery. It did? The point at which Miss Nichols thought she saw Sean with Gordy. That would have been right when he was making his rehearsal tape. I think she mistook a certain object for the legendary creature of the lake. Your so-called monster is right here in this picture. Huh? Don't see no Gordy. That ain't nothing but a dumb snapshot. You're talking to a pro here. Can't fool me with no trick photography. What was Miss Nichols' Gordy, really? It's the camera crane, yeah? Take that! That's right. It was a camera crane. That is what Miss Nichols saw, not Gordy. What?! Sean's rehearsal tape was shot from a noticeably elevated viewpoint. A viewpoint that would only have been possible if the camera in question was attached to a crane. Bull! How the heck would she make a mistake like that, huh? How indeed. Miss Nichols. Yes? You told us that you think you might need new glasses, didn't you? Yeah, my eyesight got way worse all of a sudden. And I imagine that when you thought you saw Gordy, he was quite heavily shrouded in darkness. That's right. I only really saw a silhouette. But you done told us! Skin like an enormous worm. You said. Y'all about to try and tell us your precious crane up and grew skin somehow? Ain't even no flesh on them there metal bones, let alone skin. You're entirely correct, of course. About the crane as it was in this particular picture anyway. But it did have a skin of sort last night. I knew you were a scoop hater, but this is plumb crazy. You want Tabby and me to starve, is that it? That wasn't my intent at all. But I do think it's time I finally put them both out of their misery. Gordy's skin is right here in front of us. It wasn't skin at all, it was this. The sheets. Take that! Miss Nichols told us that it seemed likely to rain last night. That never happened in the end. But I think Sean may have covered the crane with rainproof sheeting nonetheless. And that, my intrepid young reporters, is what Miss Nichols mistook for Gordy's skin. What?! Ah, heck! Well, Sean, am I mistaken? You see everything, don't you? Gotta say, you're pretty amazing. I'm sorry, Miss Hart, but Miss Nichols' monster was no such thing. It was simply a trick of the light. And just like that, the dream dies. Again. Chief! I think that may have finally shut them up. I thought the kid was holding out on us. But it seems I could have maybe been a little wrong. Maybe? Alright, we know what the so-called monster was now. Everybody happy? Everybody except these two. Agent Lang! The President's autopsy report is out, sir. It is? Let me see it. Death was due to full-body contusions and bone breakages caused by extreme pressure from above. So we have our cause of death. He was crushed. Just as we thought. Test results still haven't come back for the yellow substance found on his chest. But they did find gunshot residue on his right hand. Gunshot residue? Guess he was a kid at heart, huh? Gunshot residue, Case. The substance left behind when a firearm is discharged. His presence indicates that the president may have used a gun. Really? We didn't find a gun anywhere, did we? Indeed not, which makes the residue something of a riddle. We'll need to read that report carefully. Well, Agent Lang, that clears one thing up at least. The president didn't die from a fall, which means he wasn't pushed from the roof of the big building. He was crushed by the falling Torosaurus head, just as we said he was. Guess I have to accept that now. Fine, you were right. Amazing! So does that mean Judge Cavell isn't a suspect anymore either? Surely it must. Both cause and time of death rule her out. She met with the president the night before last. The autopsy report puts the time of death at around 11 p.m. last night. And we know that the Torosaurus head fell around then too. The facts all line up perfectly. Phew, what a relief! But it doesn't save Sean because he was here since 11! Sorry, it might be a little too soon to celebrate. What? Sure, I think we can accept that the falling head must have been what killed the president. But that begs the question of what could have caused it to fall, or who. We know it happened late last night, so we have to think about who was here at that time. What are you getting at exactly? You can't mean... I'm afraid I do. You did it, didn't you? Sean. The kid's hiding something. He was right here last night, right where the body was found. He saw the footprints, and yet he wants us to believe he knows nothing about what happened. That's a big ask, surely. We haven't yet established if the footprints had anything to do with the murder, so even if he did see them, that doesn't mean he was involved. Maybe not, but his face tells me different. As does the fact that he's shaking like a leaf. It does seem like Agent Lang might be onto something, but I don't think Sean's going to talk. Fine, keep your mouth shut, kid. I have a better idea. Why don't we let your tape do the talking? What exactly are you planning, Agent Lang? The police have some pretty sophisticated image analysis tools these days. You would go to such extreme lengths to see my son convicted? It's not ideal, but if the boy won't talk, we don't have any other way of getting to the truth. Detective Gumshoe, you have access to exactly such a device, do you not? Sure do! Little V! Good, and that should make this nice and quick. Mr. Edgeworth, might I request that it be you who carries out the analysis in question? Why me? I fear that Agent Lang might be inclined to believe the worst. Image analysis isn't exactly my specialty, but... alright. Are there new clues to be discovered somewhere in the image data, I wonder? Eureka! There's nothing of interest here. Are there new clues to be discovered somewhere in the image data, I wonder? Hello. Eureka! What the? What is it, Mr. Edgeworth? Let me see! Let me see! Ah! What is it? What's the matter? Show me! Mr. Edgeworth, the court asks that you share your findings. Zoom in on the top right part of the image and look closely. There's a person there. It's the president! Oh my! What? You're kidding, right? Well, I'd say that's pretty decisive, wouldn't you? This doesn't look good for Sean at all. Wait, that doesn't prove anything. I didn't know he was there. I don't believe you. And the image does, in fact, prove something very important. That you and the president were here at the scene of the crime together. Admit it, kid. You murdered President Wong. No, that's ridiculous. Why? Why would he? Sean, you didn't. You can't have. Can you? What do we do, Mr. Edgeworth? It's hard to push back against footage like that. Surely even you can't deny that this looks pretty bad for the kid, Mr. Prosecutor. Ah! He claimed he knew nothing about what happened, but the president's right there with him. Sean, what are you not telling us? We have to know. He's right, Sean. Be honest now. It's the only way. The truth is, it was all my fault. Sean, what did you do? It was my fault the Taurus head fell off the trailer. What happened while I was rehearsing? I went up on the roof of the trailer to prep the kit I was using, and I turned on the heater while I was there. I must have left it burning when I came back down to run my lines. Then my mom called, and I left the set to go talk to her. When I came back after the call, the Torosaurus head had fallen from the roof, and the president was just there, lying next to it. No! We did find evidence of a fire having broken out up on the roof. It was just a tiny one, so I put it out myself. So we're saying the president died because of Sean? If he did, that would make this whole thing just an accident. What did you do with the head after you found it on the ground? I took it apart, carried the pieces up to the roof, and put it back together again. You're saying you put out the fire and moved the head back to where it fell from? In other words, you tried to cover your tracks. You're a real piece of work, kid! It's not like I did any of this on purpose. I really did just forget to turn the heater off. Yes, and when the fire had burned through the legs, the table would have collapsed, and the head would have fallen down onto the ground below. You're right, the fire caused the head to fall. Indeed, and I also happen to have an idea about how the fire may have started. Those cans of paint thinner by the heater are pretty flammable. Not a great place to keep them. And you swear it wasn't an accident? Seems a little convenient. What was the president even doing here in the first place? How the heck am I supposed to know? I didn't see anybody, I swear! I still don't believe you! Why would President Wong come to a place like this in the middle of the night? His reasons for coming here are something of a mystery, it's true. He met Judge Gavel up on the roof 2 nights ago, but he was also here on the movie set last night. Did he come to meet Sean? I think we'll need to go over the boy's statement very carefully indeed. I went up on the roof of the trailer to prep the kit I was using, and I turned on the heater while I was there. I must have left it burning when I came back down to run my lines. Then my mom called, and I left the set to go talk to her. When I came back after the call, the Torosaurus head had fallen from the roof, and the president was just there, lying next to it.
Hold
it! Did you notice anything unusual about the body? I don't know. It was dark. He suddenly seems even more reticent than usual. I don't think he wants to go back over that memory any more than he has to, Mr. Edgeworth. I'm sure he doesn't, but is that really all it is? Should I push him a little more on this? It was dark, but you knew it was a body nonetheless. He's hiding something. I better find out what. Most people will cry out for help if they saw somebody lying on the ground, and yet you didn't. Yeah, because, what was the point? He was dead. So you said. What I'm interested in is how you were able to be so sure. Why were you certain that he was dead? He was lying on the ground and that huge head was right next to him. It didn't take much to figure out what must have happened.
Objection!
You couldn't have guessed that the impact would have killed him. How did you really know? I'll tell you how, because you checked. Ah, but fine, I checked, okay? I was scared, but yeah, I went up to the body and I looked and he wasn't breathing. So I was right. Why try to hide that fact? There must be a reason. Could you tell me how the body looked at that point? I couldn't tell if he was dead at first. There was no blood or anything, so it was hard to be sure. Nothing on his clothes either. He was completely clean. So yeah, he wasn't breathing, so that's how I knew he was dead. Thank you. I'd like you to add that statement to your testimony if you don't mind. I didn't know he was dead at first. There was no blood and nothing on his clothes either. Really? That doesn't sound right.
Objection!
Yeah, that's not right. What about the yellow substance on his clothes? Nothing on his clothes? Nothing at all? Yeah, nothing. Why? Is there a problem with that? There's something you're clearly hoping that we forgot. What are you talking about? There isn't. That's not true. Luckily for you, we remember it rather well. I'm talking, of course, about the yellow speckles on the president's chest. You studiously avoided mentioning them throughout your testimony. An absence I find suspicious, to say the least. Well, I hope for your sake that you have a satisfactory explanation. Judge Cavell.
Allow me to explain.
You? But...
The yellow residue on the president's chest. I imagine it was from a bouquet of flowers. Lion lilies, to be precise.
Lion lilies?
2 nights ago, when I met the president on the roof of the big building, I presented him with a bouquet. They're a type of lily with large yellow petals. I imagine that the substance on President Wong's chest was pollen from those flowers.
Huh?
But they're not there in the printout from the security camera, only because the president is in the way.
Why give him flowers?
That is not something I am at liberty to divulge.
What? More secrets? Are you serious? First you wouldn't tell us why you met with him, and now you can't even tell us about the flowers?
My sincerest apologies, but all I can tell you is that I gave him a bouquet.
A bouquet that was nowhere near the body when it was discovered. How do you explain that?
I cannot.
Ha! Seriously, Your Honor? Some things you won't explain, the rest you can't. Come on, you've got to give us something here. You wouldn't let this fly in the courtroom. What makes you think we'll accept it?
Hey, you leave her alone! Sean, I threw the flowers away, okay?
You did? So they were there when you first found the body?
Yeah, they were right there on his chest. And they were squashed completely flat. Oh, I guess that makes sense, right? They would have gotten crushed along with the president.
And the pollen would have been smeared across his jacket front. That does explain things rather neatly. But why remove the bouquet and dispose of it?
No reason.
He's almost as evasive as his mother.
More secrets? They're quite a pair. There is no secret. I know exactly why Sean disposed of the bouquet.
Huh?
You saw me leave the house with it, didn't you? Oh, I get it. When you saw the flowers on the president's body, you remember seeing your mom with them and felt the need to prevent her from coming under suspicion. No, you've got it all wrong. That's his least convincing lie yet. I often decorate our home with lion lilies. I imagine that's why he remembers.
So the flowers his mother was carrying showed up on the president's body. And because of that, he got rid of the bouquet and kept quiet about having discovered the cursed corpse. Well, that ties everything up nicely, doesn't it? A little too nicely for my taste.
Why? What's wrong with nice?
I guess you forgot, huh? The kid also told us that he was responsible for the head falling in the first place.
Yeah, he did, but...
So he's still our only suspect!
The finger of suspicion still seems to be pointing firmly in Sean's direction. However... Wait! I can think of a far more likely culprit than the boy.
What? Who?
The person who was holding Sean captive until only a short while ago.
That's right! We had to rescue him from a warehouse refrigeration unit down by the harbor. A refrigeration unit in a depot? Yeah! Luckily, it wasn't switched on. Poor kid might have been frozen into a popsicle otherwise. He was doing his best to call out for help, which is how we found him.
And the sedatives had worn off by then, so he's wide awake and plenty loud.
Sedatives? Isn't that what you were given too?
Yep, we found the bottle on the floor of the unit. It was even the same brand, 3Z's. Apparently it's super strong.
Well, Agent Lang, surely that suggests that Sean is a victim, not a suspect. Somebody else was responsible, and I think they've been behind all of this. Oh yeah? And this secret mastermind of yours was here last night too? That, I can't yet say. Ha! It's not like you to be so vague, Mr. Prosecutor.
Sadly, we just don't have anything to tie our mysterious kidnapper to the murder of the president.
So is there anybody else? Somebody other than Sean who could have committed the murder? Of course! So I was right. The kid is still our only suspect. Not quite. I could think of another. What? Somebody who we just recently proved was right here on the movie set last night. Chairman Winner? You think he killed President Wong? Why not? We've proven that he was present. And if he was here, he's as viable a suspect as anybody else, wouldn't you say? Winner? Could he really have? It's certainly another possibility to consider. 12 years ago, he was... that number again. Look, a lot happened, okay? This was all 12 years ago or more. My father and the president being friends, our family being the ones who kept us safe.
Lang! Like the Lang from 12 years ago?
Yep. Good to see that you're finally about to pay for your crimes. Even if it did take a whole while for you to get what was coming to you.
Agent Lang, what happened 12 years ago?
It has nothing to do with you.
I think it has everything to do with me. It's clearly connected to this case.
And you can prove that, can you? Go ahead, show me some proof that what happened 12 years ago has anything to do with this. Proof? If you can't prove it, this conversation's over.
Does any of the evidence we've collected show a link between recent events and those of 12 years ago?
Take that!
The report on Knight does. This is a report about Bronco Knight. It was sent to Chairman Winter by Warden McGuard. This last part in particular should be of interest to you. Retrieve the package we laid to rest 12 years ago, in front of the planter. And that's not all. Take a look at this. This letter was sent to Rosie Ringer, the victim of a murder that happened the night before last. We don't know who sent it, but it does say this. Good luck getting your revenge for what happened 12 years ago.
What? But...
Something strange is going on, Agent Lang. This Ringer was murdered the night before last, and President Wong not long afterward. There's a connection between the two murders. There has to be. I believe we can trace that connection to events 12 years in the past. Am I wrong?
These are old wounds you're opening here. Insults to my family name.
Please, Agent Lang, we need to know.
Who on earth is that? Shifu! Huh? What are you all doing here? We came to find you, sir. Heard you were looking into the incident from 12 years ago. Idiots! I'm not your boss anymore. Get back to your duties right now.
We can't do that, sir.
What? You're disobeying a direct order?
Please, sir, I'm begging you. We all are. You have to reopen the investigation into the SS5 incident. We know you can't let it go until you figured out what happened, and we can't either. Well, Agent Lang, it seems your former underlings want the events of the past explained too.
You think it's that easy? That you can solve the case just like that?
I think we can. Together.
Ha!
Well, alright then. Offer accepted.
Yes! Shifu! Shifu! Shifu!
Nice! I guess it's my turn to step up. I'm sorry, Kay. You're looking into a case from the past, right? I just happen to have something that'll help with that.
Ah, you mean Mr. Thief?
Sure do. If you could give me the details of the incident, I can rustle up a little simulation for you.
Sadly, we don't have the files related to the case.
Huh? How come?
Access to those files is restricted. They're top secret.
Really? Why?
Beats me. Somebody must have something to hide. Even I've never seen them. Everything I know, I read in newspaper articles from the time.
That's fine. Just tell us what you can. Alright.
The SS5 incident happened on a winter's day 12 years ago. February 10th, to be precise. Your police received a call directly from the kidnapper. I've got the president of Shangfa.
So he was kidnapped?
Yeah. SS5 is the official designation of the president's kidnapping case. The kidnapper wanted $100 million.
$100 million? How much money even is that?
More than you can imagine, it seems. The last person to see the president that night was my father. They were together at the embassy of Shangfa until midnight on the 10th, and nobody knows what happened with the president after that until he was kidnapped. Our government did everything they could to scrape together the money. They were desperate to save him, and in the end they succeeded. The money was handed over, and the president came home safely.
So President Wong was head honcho even back then? Wow, go Mr. President.
The length of time he stayed in power isn't even close to the most impressive thing about him.
Agent Lang was clearly very fond of President Wong. I assume the kidnapping was thoroughly investigated.
It was, but the investigation was top secret, as was the trial. A trial?
So a suspect was arrested?
Yeah, none other than our friend, Fifi Laguard.
What? Is that why you visited the prison?
It is. I was put on what you might call extended leave from Interpol, so I thought I'd use the time to look into what happened 12 years back. And I wanted to see who I was dealing with.
She was found not guilty then, wasn't she?
Yeah. My father was in charge of the president's security at the time, but they held him responsible for the kidnapping and stripped him of his duties as presidential bodyguard. He stayed on the force, though, and he worked the case alone until eventually he found the suspect, LeGuard. If he thought she did it, there was no way she was innocent, but they declared her not guilty, and the case went cold. My father couldn't take it. He was broken, mentally and physically. Finally, he quit the force altogether.
So he had solid grounds to suspect Warden LeGuard?
He must have had evidence. He wouldn't have charged her otherwise. But I've never been able to see the materials for the case. I'm sorry, but that's all I know.
What do we do, Mr. Edgeworth? This is useful information, but I don't think it's enough for Little Thief to recreate the scene.
Is there really nothing we could do?
You look like you could use a hand.
Who's this now?
Hey!
Francisca!
And Mr. Fender!
We finally wrapped things up over at the courthouse, so we thought we'd see what you kids were up to.
Here.
What's this? It says SS5 incident investigation report.
When Fifi LeGuard mentioned an incident from 12 years ago earlier, I couldn't help but wonder. So I decided to look into it, and this was what Interpol provided.
Nice work, Francisca.
Don't get the wrong idea, Miles Edgeworth. You're no longer a prosecutor. I didn't do this for you. I did it so that a colleague could solve his father's final case.
I owe you, sis. But everything related to the SS5 incident was supposed to be top secret.
Yes, but that classification was applied by the prosecutor in charge of the case, Excelsius Winter.
He was the prosecutor in charge? Him again!
Don't worry. Due to the outcome of this morning's case, he's been stripped of his authority. An outcome that was in no small part thanks to the efforts of his own son, Eustace. So in defeating his father, he made the old case file available to us? It sounds like we owe him. Prosecutor Eustace Winter is busy wrapping things up after the conclusion of the LeGuard trial. But he asked me to give you a message. Leave Dad and LeGuard to me. You focus on your case over there. Easy, he's starting to sound like a prosecutor. Indeed he is. Alright! Now that we have the case file, I can recreate the scene, no problem.
Excellent. Let's get started.
According to the file, the incident occurred exactly where the plaza is now. Then what are we waiting for? With me, everybody! April 6th, 3:25 p.m., Big Building Plaza.
Alright, Kay, if you can set Mr. Pete in motion.
Sure! Looks like there's more than enough here to work with. Where do you want to start?
Good question. Let's see. It seems there was an eyewitness. A freelance journalist by the name of Alf Aldown. But apparently, he was killed by the culprit for witnessing the kidnapping. So this is where he saw it all happen, huh?
Here? As in the big building?
No, construction of the big building only began a year ago. Before that, it had been a piece of abandoned property. Before that... now we're getting to the stuff I know. 12 years ago, this place would have been... the Happy Family Home.
Like for retired people?
No, it was a place for children without parents. An orphanage, in other words.
The president was kidnapped from an orphanage?
Yeah, and the place was run by Fifi LeGuard. She called it her happy little home.
As the proprietor of the institution, I suppose it's understandable that she came under suspicion.
President Wong, Excelsius Winter, and Warden LeGuard? Surely the SS5 incident must be related to our current case.
Kay, could you enter the data relating to the murder of Mr. Aldown?
It seems sensible to assume that he was killed by whoever kidnapped the president.
So if we solve the murder, we solve the kidnapping. Nice!
Alright, we're counting on you.
is this?
When did I grow to become so blasé towards people's reactions to Mr. Thief?
What we're seeing here is the front yard of the orphanage as it was 12 years ago. At least as far as the police reports describe it. Yeah, that's how it looked when they started investigating at 7 a.m. the morning after the murder. And it seems it had been snowing.
Yeah, from what I heard, the footprints wound up being pretty important evidence. The snow fell in the daytime the previous day.
In other words, before the incident occurred. Meaning that none of the relevant footprints would have been obscured by new snow. New snow? Snow. I think we'll need to pay these footprints some special attention. Alright, time to investigate. First, let's take a look at the body. Alfaldo, the man who witnessed the president's kidnapping. What exactly did he see? I based this part of the recreation on one of the crime scene photos. It seems he suffered a blow to the back of the head. Yeah, from that brick right there. They figured it must have been taken from here in the yard. Looks like the blood flowed from the head wound and spread over the surrounding area. Here, gift for you. This is Mr. Aldown's autopsy report. I must scour the scene and inspect anything that catches my attention. You mean like this yellow lily that's just growing, and this yellow lion lily that's just staring me in the face? What is he holding in his hand? Alfaldo, freelance journalist, killed after witnessing the kidnapping of President Wong. Even in the recreation, it's pretty gruesome, huh? It's even worse than the actual crime scene photos. That's a lot of blood. It seems mostly to have come from the back of his head. As you can see, that area is completely caked. Yeah, the autopsy report says that's where he was hit with the brick. Indeed, I imagine his attacker must have snuck up on him from behind. It looks as if he's clutching something in his right hand. Oh yeah, they mentioned that in the file somewhere. Let's see. According to this, it was a button. A button? Torn from the attacker's clothing, perhaps? Okay. How about his camera? Did he catch anything on it? So the victim was carrying a camera. Oh yeah, according to the file, they recovered a picture. Yeah, here we are. That's... It's the president, right? And somebody's pointing a gun at him. This must be what Mr. Aldown witnessed. The person in the trench coat is the kidnapper. Yes, I imagine they were trying to conceal their identity. But if Agent Lang's father's theory was correct, the person wearing that trench coat is Warden LaGuard. That can't be Warden LaGuard. They're too small. How come they only found the one picture? He probably wasn't able to take any more before he was attacked. Okay. How about the brick? This was the brick used in the murder. Found by Aldown's body. Did it come from somewhere nearby? There's stuff made of bricks all around the yard here. They probably took it from somewhere nearby, huh? What about this flower? Somebody's dropped a yellow flower here. I think this one symbolizes the desire to steal treasures. Okay, you can't just make these things up. What we can say is that it looks to be different from all the other flowers in the planter. Huh, so what's it doing here? One indeed. We should examine the planters, too. I must be right. Somebody must have stolen it. It's a stolen treasure. Okay. I think this one might actually symbolize the growing anger of a former prosecutor. The cell phone must have belonged to the victim. You're right. Yeah, it says here in the file that Mr. Aldown made a call while he was watching the kidnapping. A call? To whom? His girlfriend. Seems he called her when he saw that the president was there, but she didn't pick up, so he left a message. That's in here too if you want to hear it. Please. Hey, Rosie, it's me. I guess you're asleep already. Anyway, I'm here at the orphanage. Something weird's going on. President Wong is here for some reason. And there's another. Damn it! The light's out, so I can't quite see, but... It looked like he was being kidnapped? Anyway, probably nothing, but I thought I should let you know. Rosie. Rosie Ringer? What were those sounds at the end? He must have been attacked while he was still on the phone. Agent Lang, can I ask you something? Mr. Aldown's girlfriend, what was her name? Ringer. Rosie Ringer. At least that's what I heard. Just as I thought. Wait, you mean... Her revenge for what happened 12 years ago. All Miss Ringer was left with were the memories and personal effects of her lover. And so, seeking revenge on Chairman Winter, she made her appearance at the auction. So she really was out for revenge on Chairman Winter, wasn't she? Perhaps it was for his suppression of the kidnapping. Or perhaps it was because she thought he was one of the kidnappers. Okay. Dropped it. No. I already, we should examine the planters, too. These planters. According to the case file, the yard stretched around 3 sides of the orphanage. And there were 3 planters on each side. The yard stretched around 3 sides of the building. There were 3 square planters on each side. Wait. Yes. Planters are arranged in a very particular pattern. One we've seen somewhere before. The hoof-shaped, holes. Shame there aren't many flowers, but I guess it was the middle of winter. Yes, but look at that one. It's bright yellow. Weird. How come there's only one? Wait, it looks like somebody dropped it. That's a lion lily, if I'm not very much mistaken. A rare member of the family Liliaceae. A lion lily, you say? Wait, didn't Judge Gabel give President Wong some lion lilies? What is the same flower doing here? This can't be a coincidence. Can it? I believe this particular cultivar is from Asia, where it's said to symbolize the bond between parent and child. I wasn't aware you were so knowledgeable when it came to flowers, Francisca. Ha! I just told you it's common knowledge. Perhaps you just need to read a little more. Alright.
We know that they were looking for something near a planter, which means these footprints have to be revolving the planters from 12 years ago. So that's what our monstrous hoofprints really were. Wait, what? Recall the arrangement of the foot of the prints. Now compare it to that of the planters. Whoa! That's right. I believe the footprints are located exactly where our planters once stood. So Chairman Winter was digging around the front of them? He was. And why might he have been doing that? We have a piece of evidence in our possession that answers exactly that question. Which piece of evidence shows why Chairman Winter might have been digging in front of the planters? Wouldn't it be the report on Night?
Take that!
Because it did mention the planters. Recall, if you will, the report that Warden McGuire sent to Chairman Winter. In it, she mentioned something that had been laid to rest in front of a planter. You think she was telling him where to dig? Wait, but why 3 holes? Because the report didn't specify which of the planters she meant. I get it, so he wasn't sure which one it was, which meant he had to try and dig up all 3. I imagine so, yes. Poor Chairman Winter. Why go to all that trouble? What was he looking for? There are burn marks on this pillar here. The report says there was a fire sometime on the evening of the incident. A fire? Let's see. Where was it again? Ah! Yeah, one of the orphans set a fire with some kerosene. Some sort of prank, probably. They sound like a lively bunch. Possibly too lively. Seems their antics spoiled our chances of finding any footprints near the entrance of the building.
These footprints stopped by the body. I guess that means they belong to Mr. Aldown, right? His feet were pretty big. What's that, about a size 12? According to the file, they were the same size as his shoes. It's a match. Alright, what about this pair? These footprints go toward the body and come back. According to the case file, they're thought to be the killers. They're about a size 9. Pretty average, in other words. It seems the police weren't able to track down who the murderer was from them, though. Alright. Lang, what could... Lang, let's... Oh, fuck. I hate how finicky selecting things is in this game. Lang, let's talk to you. What can you tell us? 3 planters, covered with snow. Is anything the matter, Agent Lang? Yeah, something's not right. I wasn't able to look at the case file until now. Indeed, you have Chairman Winter to thank for that, it seems. Yeah, but what's weird is, I've seen this scene somewhere before. What? But where? I keep thinking I've got it, but then it's gone. He appears to be lost in his efforts to remember. Perhaps I should leave him alone for now. I think that's about all we can learn from the scene for now. Alright, how about I try to show you how things looked earlier on that night? That would be very much appreciated. Can you take us back to the moment at which the victim witnessed the kidnapping? Sure, I'll use the photograph he took. Here goes nothing. There's Mr. Aldown in the middle of the planters. And there's the president and his kidnapper out by the road. My father based his investigation on the evidence Aldown provided. That was why he thought the kidnapping and the orphanage were connected somehow. And how he wound up suspecting Fifi LaGuard. She was the one running the orphanage at the time. Exactly. But when the case went to trial, Excelsius Winter put a big hole in that theory. He did? Yeah, after all, the president and the kidnapper weren't actually on the grounds of the orphanage, so it was hard to conclusively prove any kind of connection. Huh. So they were never seen inside the gates of the orphanage? Detectives bust a gut to find evidence on the scene, and then prosecutors come along and twist it for their own ends. Winter and LaGuard were working together. They had some kind of deal. I'm sure of it. So you're saying that Chairman Winter was working with the kidnapper? Your father was convinced that LaGuard was the culprit, correct? And you say he was a gifted and thorough investigator. He must have had more to support his theory than just Mr. Aldown's method, surely. Yeah, he must have. I just don't know what it was. It wasn't exactly a case he liked talking about. Agent Lang's father, Da Long Lang. Trusted ally and confidant of President Long. He discovered truths that were subsequently suppressed by Chairman Winter. Our first priority should be to find out what they were. Give me a second, ladies and gentlemen. I have to step to the bathroom.
Okay, and we're back. So let's do some logic here. Firstly, was Winter involved with this? And what on earth did he dig up? Like what was so important that, important for him to dig up that would help Fifi LaGuardia? If Chairman Winter was involved in President Wong's abduction, and it seems likely that whatever he dug up yesterday had something to do with the kidnapping. Oh, I get it. You do? You bet I do. We're talking treasure, right? Loot! He must have been digging up the ransom money. The ransom money? $100 million is an awful lot of cash. Burying it would have been a good way to keep it hidden until the heat died down. And, of course, the phone starts ringing the minute I get back to work. I swear, I must be losing my mind because it's like every time I step outside of my room, I smell rotten, like sour milk. I don't understand where that scent is coming from. And I've checked the entire house. But there's nothing sour smelling in the entire house. But it's like every time I step out of my room, whoosh! Instant smell of something rotten. Burying it would have been a good way to keep it hidden until the heat died down. It certainly seems like a possibility. Glad you agree. I must scour the scene and inspect anything that catches my attention. What's up with the snowman? Hey, that snowman! It was melted in the simulation of the morning after the murder, huh? And that muffler was all wet, and its little button eyes had fallen off. Indeed, it still looks reasonably healthy at this point. Although not entirely, I can see one thing that's missing. Aw, poor guy! I bet some kid took it as a stupid prank. Not a bad piece of thieving, though. Maybe they had potential. You think one of the orphans took it? I'm not so sure. In fact, I think it was grabbed by somebody else entirely. Could this be related to the evidence somehow? Yeah, the bloody button! Eureka! This snowman is missing a certain something, wouldn't you say? Yeah, his right eye! Indeed, luckily we've managed to locate it. The button Mr. Aldown was holding! Look at that! It's the same type of button as the other eye and everything! If we suppose that the button was indeed the snowman's missing eye, that presents something of a contradiction. What does the button contradict? The victim's location, right? It means that Aldown didn't die where he died. He died near them. The victim was clutching the button, and the button was covered with his blood, which means he must have grabbed it after being attacked. Let's run a little hypothetical, shall we? What if, after being struck, Mr. Aldown lost his balance and reached out to grab something to steady himself? The snowman. The snowman wouldn't have supported him, so he would have grasped the button and continued falling. I get it! So you're saying that he was near the snowman when he was attacked? I am, within arm's reach to be precise. And he's currently nowhere near that place. Right, but his footprints only go as far as the planter. He never came back this way! What if they weren't his footprints? I think we need to look at all the prints again. Alright, I'll take us back to the scene where Mr. Aldown's body was found. But the footprints on the left definitely matched up with Mr. Aldown's shoes, right? So what's the deal? Let's take another look and see if we can figure it out. They must have switched the shoes. Yeah, look at his body. The shoes are way bigger than his feet. I'm gonna scour the scene and inspect anything that catches my attention. They're much bigger than his feet. Look at that! These shoes. As the case file says, they match the footprints, but... Huh, these aren't the victim's shoes. I'm sure of it. What do you mean? Look at how the laces are tied. Don't they look a little strange to you? What's more, they don't appear to fit properly.
So these prints, they go right up to where the victim was found, and they stop right by his feet. But they didn't actually belong to him. So are the prints by his head his? The ones that lead away and come back? No, I don't think so. They're too small. So neither set belongs to him. Then how did he get here? That's easy enough. He didn't walk. He was carried by the killer. So then where did the murder take place? Was it really over by the snowman as we suspect? Alright then, let's take a look-see at the snowman thing. I think Mr. Aldown's body was moved. How else do we explain the button clutch to his hand? That would suggest that he was killed somewhere near the snowman. I'd better take a closer look. I will scour the scene and inspect anything that catches my attention. Oh, the brick! Huh? Look, there's a brick missing here. The rest of the brickwork looks fine. Strange that just this one is missing. It seems quite likely that the missing brick was the one used in the murder, wouldn't you say? Oh yeah, now that you mention it, they're the exact same shape and size. And that's our last piece of logic, so they have to go together. I think we have to conclude that the murder actually happened over by the snowman. Right, the button came from there, and the brick too. Indeed. And what's more, the murderer took the brick from right by the snowman, and then tried to sneak up on the victim all the way over by the planters. Mr. Aldown would have seen them right away. Exactly. I think we need to update the simulation, Kay. Mr. Aldown wasn't standing by the planters. He was next to the snowman. Gotcha! Alright, here goes. What? But wouldn't that make Mr. Aldown the kidnapper then? Because this doesn't make sense. Yeah, none of this makes sense. That's not... Yeah, no matter how you look at it, this just doesn't work, huh? Indeed, everybody who was present is in exactly the same spot. So where did we go wrong? One of the pieces of evidence on which we base our simulation must be the source of the problem. What if one of them was fake somehow? Which one was it? It had to be the photograph, yeah? It had to be the photograph. There's no way that this would work if that's where he got the photograph from, right? Take that! Can we really be certain that this picture was taken by Mr. Aldown? Huh? What do you mean? We know that whoever killed him moved his body. But why would they have done that? What if they wanted to make it seem like he saw something he didn't? And then they took the photo to help back up the lie? They had the president at gunpoint. They could easily have forced him to pose for the picture. He would have had no choice but to comply. Hey, now that you mention it, they only recovered one picture from Mr. Aldown's camera, right? Indeed. I imagine this killer probably removed the film that was already in there. They replaced it with another, thereby ensuring that the only picture found was the one they staged. Yeah, that makes total sense. So this picture was actually taken after Mr. Aldown was killed. No way. And there you have it. The picture doesn't show what Mr. Aldown saw at all. It seems highly likely that it was simply staged to make us believe that was the case. Wait, so where was the president when Mr. Aldown thought he saw him being kidnapped? Luckily, the photograph isn't the only piece of evidence we could use to try and figure that out. Oh yeah, he left that voicemail too. He did. I think we should listen back to it one more time, don't you? This is surely the only place where the president and his kidnapper could have been, standing. It would have to be over here, yeah? Because if I'm remembering correctly, didn't the phone call mention a light going out? And this is the only one that went out. Because this one, if he was looking from here all the way over here, then that would make sense. But if he was talking about this one, it wouldn't make sense because then the president would be over here. But if he was talking about this one, it would make more sense over here.
Take that!
Recall this statement from Mr. Aldown's voicemail. Damn it, the light's out. 2 of the lights here in the yard are broken. Yeah, he must have been talking about the one over by the building. Alright, could you update the simulation to reflect everything that you learned? Sure! And there we have it! The kidnapper was really standing over by the building! Yes, which would certainly have strengthened the theory that they were connected to the orphanage. So they moved the body and staged the photograph to distort the picture painted by the voicemail, which helped them undermine the idea that the orphanage was involved when the case went to trial. Well, that certainly changes what this particular part of the simulation tells us. I imagine it will also affect our understanding of the scene from when the body was found. Only one way to find out. Ready to make the jump? To switch between the 2 recreations, I need to first press triangle to talk with K, and then select switch recreations. I'll give it a try later when I need it. What is it, Mr. Edgeworth? Alright, let's switch to recreations then. You want me to show you the scene as reported in the police's case files, right? Okay, let's take another look at how things were when they found the body. And there we have it! Alright, so... if Aldown died over here... here... Why is there a bloodstain here? I must scour the scene and inspect anything that catches my attention. Yeah, why would there be a bloodstain here if he died way over there? Blood on the snow. A lot of it. It sort of looks as if the murder occurred here, doesn't it? Wait, but we just figured out that Mr. Aldown was killed over by the snowman, right? We did. I think this blood might belong to somebody else. What? But the police report said the blood was Mr. Aldown's! Did I remind you that the case was overseen by Chairman Winter? The man would have had no scruples about altering the official record over something this small. But then, why go through all that trouble? Couldn't he have just cleaned up the blood instead? He wasn't able to. Think about it. He knew that this was where the police would find Mr. Aldown's body. He knew that the police would have certain scientific methods at their disposal to look for clues. Oh, you mean luminol? Yeah, they would have found traces of blood if they'd used that for sure. Exactly. He wouldn't have been able to clean it up to the point where it was undetectable. Far easier to falsify the results of any such tests when they came back in. It would simply have been a matter of replacing the official results with a doctored copy. Yeesh! So we've been looking at a forgery this whole time? That sucks! Wait, but it says Miss Aldown's clothes were covered with blood too. It does, and if they were, which seems entirely believable, it suggests that whoever's blood this is, it wasn't yet dry when Mr. Aldown's body was placed here. I get it, which means that the other person's blood was spilled not long before Mr. Aldown was killed. I think it does, yes. But if that's the case, doesn't that present something of a contradiction? Okay then. If this is not Aldown's blood, doesn't that mean that the fire that was here was actually used to erase the evidence? Eureka! There's a clear contradiction here. Huh? In the bloodstain? The blood is clearly cut off when the snow was melted by the fire, which means that the blood in question was spilled before the fire was started. Huh? But the fire happened before the murder, no? If we choose to believe the case file, yes. But if the fire was actually set after what happened here, the kid who lit it might have seen something. Then why isn't there a witness statement? Because that would have challenged Chairman Winter's version of events. We need to know more about this fire.
You! Yes, Shifu! The fire might have been reported to the police, which means there might be a record of it. Go see if they have anything and bring everything you find back here right away. Understood, Shifu! I'll get right on it! One more thing. What is it, Shifu? Contact my family back in Shangfa. Tell them to search my father's office. There should be something there related to the case. There should? What kind of something exactly? I told you I seen this scene somewhere before, didn't I? Well, I remembered where. It was in my father's office. He had a picture of it, or at least of something very much like it. What? It looked like it was drawn by a child. Possibly a child from the orphanage. Possibly even the child who set the fire. It should still be there somewhere. Tell them to send it right away. Yes, Shifu! Shifu, I'm back! I brought everything the police had on the fire. And I also brought the picture from your father's office. Oh, and one more thing. About time! What kept you, huh? Well, hand it over! Let's take a look at this mysterious picture, shall we? This is it! This is the picture I remember. Could this be a depiction of something that happened on the night of the incident? It sure looks like a kid drew it, huh? Yes, and I'm willing to bet it's the work of the child who set the fire. Wait. A man in a robe? With a dog and a knife? What did Canis? He tried to kill the president. He tried to kill the president. Shifu, there's... What now? Look, it'll have to wait, okay? Well, Mr. Prosecutor, why do you think my father kept this? I imagine he acquired it at some point during his investigation, although I have no idea why he would have chosen to keep it to himself. Did you see the case file for the fire, too? Sure, here. If you'll just give me a moment to read through it. It seems the boy who started the fire snuck out of bed on the evening of the incident. And then disappeared several days later. What? Must have been because he saw something, right? No! A kid? Really? That's horrible! But sadly not unimaginable. Huh? Looks like the kid left something behind that was put into evidence. Huh? What's this? That's... What's it doing in that case file? What is it, Mr. Prosecutor? Have you seen this somewhere before? Something very much like it, yes. You have a piece of evidence that could well be connected. Which item of evidence relates to the item the boy left behind? The Torosaurus plushie. I don't know what it was doing in the evidence for that case, but it looks like that might be the missing horn from this soft toy. Hey, that was President Wong's! You've seen it before? Of course. He always kept it somewhere close by. I remember it because of the missing piece. I see. It has a special device inside it that plays recorded sound when you twist the horn. Hey, do you think maybe putting the horn back on might unlock more recordings? Huh, you never know. The toy itself should still be up on the 51st floor. Hey, you heard the man! Yes, Shifu, I'll go fetch it right away. Here it is, Shifu, the Torosaurus doll, just like you asked. Good work. Hand it over to the prosecutor over there. Well, does the horn found at the orphanage fit the president's plushie? It fits perfectly! And? Any more recordings on there? Hi, Dijun. Sorry, President Wong. It's me, Amelia. I know it's been a while. I saw on the news that you were visiting the country soon, and I didn't know whether I should get in touch at all, but in the end I decided I had to. Turn it off! Right now! What's gotten into Judge Gavel? Are you okay? Just turn it off! Please! You see, I had a baby. A beautiful little boy. Your beautiful little boy. I'm sorry, that's pretty much all I wanted to tell you. Oh, except I called him Sean. Sean Fenn. It has a nice ring to it, don't you think? No! Sean Fenn? The kid? And also that I'll be at the orphanage on the evening of the 9th. I'll be waiting in the front yard. I thought you could meet him if you like, even if it's only just this once. I know you're a very busy man, but anyway, that's where we'll be. Goodbye.
What? He was my dad? I'm so sorry, Sean.
Care to explain what the heck is going on, Gavel?
Sean isn't my biological son. I adopted him.
And he was aware of this?
Yes, of course. His mother, Amelie Fenn, she died 5 years ago. We were cousins, but we were also friends, the best of friends. People often mistook us for sisters. And so, when she died, it seemed only natural that Sean should come and live with me. Of course, we had to keep his father's identity secret, and I decided that the best way to do that would be for him never to know in the first place.
That's quite a lot to learn from a recording made on a seemingly innocent toy. I guess Sean's mother must have recorded the message and sent the plus sheet to the president.
Hey. Yes, Sean? You're sure? He was really my dad? Yes, I'm sure.
Before you were born, your mother worked for a time as a diplomat in Shangfa. Makes sense. That line of work might have brought her into contact with the president.
What? You told me she worked at the orphanage!
She did, but only after she returned. After she quit the diplomatic service. She always loved helping others. The orphanage was perfect for her. Not so fast! Sorry, Judge Gavel, but I have to ask. Amelie, the lady who asked the president to come, why didn't she show up herself? Why isn't she anywhere in the files related to the SS5 incident?
She never made it to the rendezvous that night. Someone was tailing her.
I'll bet that was Chairman Winter's doing. Though sadly, we can't prove it.
And because she couldn't make it, she never saw the president again.
And she died 5 years ago. This can't be easy for Sean.
Hey, Sean, are you thirsty? We could go get a soda. My treat, okay? Come on, I think I saw a vending machine over. You think I can't buy myself a soda? This is important, and it's about me. I'm staying. Oh, that didn't work at all. Sean, perhaps now you can guess why I met with the president 2 nights ago.
So that's it! That was the big secret!
I wanted to tell him face to face that Amelie was gone, but also that you were alive and well. More than well.
But I...
It makes sense now.
No wonder Judge Gavel was so keen to avoid sharing the details of their meeting.
Yeah, she would have had to share the truth about Sean, too. That was why I took the lion lilies with me. So there would be no doubt that I knew Amelie, and that I knew her well. These flowers bore special significance for the two of them, you see. President Wong gave Amelie a bouquet of lion lilies in the early days of their romance. But now, he too is dead. If only he had lived, Sean might finally have been able to get to know him.
Shifu! I've been waiting for the right time to say this, but... What? What is it? You've been hovering there this whole time. Can it wait? They sent something else from Shangfa. President Wong's will. What? The president's will, huh? He gave my father medal after medal. They had to come up with new ones just for him. In the end, there were no medals left to give, so he made us the keepers of his last will and testament. Those medals, that duty, they're our greatest pride, our family jewels. What? This is... What is it, Angel Lang? Does it have anything to do with our current case? You could say that. Seems he was planning on publicly acknowledging Sean as his son.
Sean's name appears in the president's will?
And we're certain that the document is authentic? That President Wong wrote it himself? Sure we are. It's old, but it's real. My family took charge of it back before the SS5 incident happened. They'll want to analyze it back home to be sure, but I stake my name on it being the genuine article. Wong was a renowned world leader. A child nobody knew about would have been sure to cause a stir, and yet he chose to mention a child in his will nonetheless. Well, that's that, I guess. I still can't quite believe it, but the president confirmed it with his own hand. There's no denying it. Sean, you're President Wong's son.
Sean!
Sean! And with that, that'll bring today's episode to a close. Oh, dear God. How long have I been recording? It honestly feels longer than an hour and 40 minutes. Whew. Anyway, thank y'all for watching, and as always, your host, TheAmariaShadow, saying along Z, and I'll see you for the next adventure. Goodbye, everyone!